My name's Barnaby Winter. I'm a founding freeman of the Guild of Entrepreneurs. Tonight I'm emceeing the fourth Ask an Entrepreneur series, which we are talking about scalability. We don't know where it's going to go, but it always throws up something really interesting.
Make sure that you are not scared to take risks, because I think taking risks actually pushes boundaries. If you can push boundaries, you can make things happen. Making things happen can either be successful or not, and hopefully it'll be successful for you when you take your risk.
So Avi Lazaro is a South African business working in the field of genetics. Ventures of Avi's include DNA Fit, a DNA testing kit developed for nutrition and fitness purposes. I think we're very honoured to have Avi here, so if I could welcome Avi to the stage. Tell us a little bit about your history, from growing up. How did you scale yourself?
Hasn't been easy, and I'm still working on it, to be honest. So for me, obviously, I've always just believed that, if you have an ambition, if you have a desire, you can make things happen if you can see them. I ended up working at Blockbuster Video, stacking videos every weekend, to then moving forward to trying to do things and create ideas and turn them into realities. And I just realized really that I just, didn't want to be a cog in someone else's wheel where, there's a mandate to do something and, my objective was to just do a small part. I wanted to do the bigger part. My first, successful company, which was a hair, drug and alcohol testing company. We became a multi-million-dollar company. I exited actually for about $10 million in 2012, £10 million actually. So that was my first successful exit. And then I was lost. I was like, oh, what can I do now? And then when you exit, suddenly you're left with nothing, and then wow, was that just luck?
Just to contextualise that, you're left with 10 million.
Yes, I actually owned 50%, so it was half.
Oh, okay.
The fact is money is a short-term motivator, believe it or not. And when you're starting off, it's all about, okay, how can I be successful? How can I make a difference? And how can I make money in the process? Very important, but not the key driver, at least for me. It's about making a difference. If you make a difference, the money comes. So a key lesson I learned is, whatever business you do, have passion behind it, because it's what you do every day. And ultimately, that's when I set up a company called DNA Fit, which we briefly mentioned. DNA Fit is something I'm very passionate about. We created the first ever genetic exercise intervention study where we use your DNA to work out exactly the best way you should exercise and you should eat for your body. And even though we started off in the world of professional sports, we obviously realized that there's a big market in mass consumer audience. I pretty much exited this business, DNA Fit, into the Prenetics group. And Prenetics actually is a $50 million startup out of Hong Kong, so well funded, because I realized that you can be passionate about any business you're working in. So whether it's your own business, whether it's somebody else's business, you can still be entrepreneurial. Intrapreneurial is the word, because you can be intrapreneurial if it's somebody else's and still make things happen. And if you can do that, you can keep on, working to make your belief systems hit their goals, wherever they might be.
So what do you think are the key drivers of scalability?
In terms of scalability, first thing, the basics for me, have you got a great brand? It's about your messaging, it's about your cause, it's about your communication. And I really believe it helps you punch above your weight if presented correctly and articulated correctly. So the first thing is B2B or B2C. Have you got a great brand that people can identify with and can drive your bigger purpose? I think unless you're well funded and that's your model and that's the start of your business intention, I think you just initially have to almost start your business to make money, to survive, to pay bills, to actually get it to the next level. The last two companies that I've done that have exited, I've always made sure that from the onset I've built systems and processes and that can be presented to investors, that can be built for scale, as if we're going to be a big business tomorrow.
A brand is not a logo, it's not a look and feel anymore. It used to be 20 years ago, it's absolutely isn't. What it is now is a relationship with the system and process.
Which takes me to the next scalability point, which is finding the right people. I think the difference between the right person in the role is night and day. If you have the right people, which are very hard and very difficult to get, can make a big difference to how you're going to scale that business, because you can trust them, they've got the experience, they bring with them experience. I think that really, really can make a big, big difference.
A great phrase I was given once, which is only do what only you can do, and everything else you give to the right people.
So even as a small organization or a startup business, don't be afraid to actually explore opportunities that arise when they arise, because quite often, more often than not, I would say, is those opportunities can become real if you just participate in actually having the vision you can achieve what you want to get from them. From my experience, you will always have process failures. You'll never be perfect, but it's trying to maintain best quality you can in whatever the process is, I think.
I think you should expect failure. There's a great phrase from the armed forces, which is no plan survives engagement with the enemy. Have a vision. I can't tell you how many businesses I go into and they do not have a vision. there are really 6 key areas of scalability. First of all, get yourself a brand. So in other words, a replicatable story that you can tell to your prospects and to your customers. Build systems and processes, make them robust. First, do MVPs, whatever, minimum viable products, all that sort of thing, and then scale from there. Get the right people in place and actually get them to do the jobs that you don't need to do as the founding entrepreneur. Stay right on top of the detail, but actually the detail becomes where is the cash. So the cash is a key thing because you are not going to survive without cash. And then finally, a great way of scaling is to acquire other businesses that may or may not be in distress, but actually do not discount that even if you're at startup level. It's amazing that you can put together collaborations and things like that very, very quickly. So I think that summarises. Abby, you've been brilliant. Thank you very much, Victor.